Orúkọ mi ni Ọpẹ́olúwa George Akínọlá, Secretary General of Ilana Omo Oodua and a co-convener of NINAS. Ọ̀rọ̀ tá à ń sọ ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà ńlẹ̀ lásìkò yìí ni ọ̀rọ̀ bí Yorùbá ṣe máa kúrò nínú ìgbèkùn Nàìjíríà. A dẹ̀ ti ń ṣe lóríṣiríṣi láàrin àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá pé a máa lọ bí Yorùbá nation. Ṣùgbọ́n a bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí darapọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn ẹ̀yà míì tó yẹ pé àwọn náà jẹ́ ẹrú nínú orílẹ̀-èdè amúnisìn Nàìjíríà yìí. Àwọn bíi àwọn south àwọn south east àtàwọn middle belt Nàìjíríà. So gbogbo wa la dẹ̀ ti jọ pé àjọ máa kúrò nínú ẹ̀wọ̀n yẹn lẹ́ẹ̀kan náà ni. So la fi kóra wa jọ. Ṣùgbọ́n kó má di pé gbogbo ẹ̀ máa di rọ́tírọ́tí tó máa di rògbòdìyàn. La fi ní pé ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ṣe lọ́nà tó bófin lọ. A dẹ̀ ti sọ pé constitution tí Nàìjíríà gbé dání kì í ṣe constitution tí a fọwọ́ sí. Constitution irọ́ ni, constitution ó parọ́ mọ́ ara ẹ̀, constitution ẹ̀tàn ni. Torí pé ó sọ pé we the people, gbogbo àwa èèyàn yìí la ṣe constitution yìí fúnra wa, irọ́ ni. Torí àwa ò sí ńbẹ̀, kò dẹ̀ sí signature Yorùbá kankan ńbẹ̀ tó sọ pé báyìí o àti ní ìdárapọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn kan Nàìjíríà láti ṣe ìwé òfin tó ń pè ní constitution. So gbogbo wa ti sọ pé kò rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Àwa bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní December 16 last year. A sọ pé a fún wọn ní oṣù kan, lẹ́yìn oṣù kan a fún wọn lóṣù mẹ́ta, lẹ́yìn ìgbà yẹn náà ni ti oṣù mẹ́rin yìí tó yẹ pé ó parí lénìí, pé kí gbogbo àwọn politicians wa kàn palẹ̀ mọ́ lọ sí election míì mọ́, torí election yẹn wọ́n fi ń dè wá mọ́lẹ̀ ni. Election yẹn la fi ń lọ́dàbẹ̀ pé a fi ń fún Nàìjíríà ní ẹ̀jẹ̀ tuntun, wọ́n ń fún lómi tuntun. Tí yóò bá sí election yẹn Nàìjíríà máa kú ni. Torí Nàìjíríà ìlú èpè ni o, ìlú ọ̀tẹ̀ ni, ìlú tẹ́ pé wọ́n fi ń kó gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá lẹ́rú. Àwa ò dẹ̀ ṣe yẹn mọ́, àfẹ́ mọ́. La fi sọ pé ókè o, nígbà tó dẹ̀ ti parí nsìn tí 120 days yẹn ti parí, à ń lọ. Ọ̀nàkọnà tó ní kálukú bá fi mọ̀ kọ́ fi discourage àwọn politicians wọn. Kọ́nìbọ̀dì kó má gbé gbá o. Kẹ́nìbọ̀dì má gbé gbá, kẹ́nìbọ̀dì má sọ pé òun gbà pòtí kan lọ dìbò. Ìyẹn ni nǹkan tá à ń sọ tá a bá fi múlẹ̀ lénìí.
Nigerian Indigenous Nationality Alliance for Self-Determination. NINAS is like an umbrella of all the communities, the regions, the South-South, South-West, South-East, Middle Belt. That is all the people in the South. The only separate group of people in the contiguous northern people to 12 states. Why is that? Because I only want to decide since 2000 láti máa practice Sharia. In Constitution of Nigeria, ìwé òfin Nigeria, kò yẹ kó practice Sharia. Anybody in Nigeria láti máa practice religion of practice ohun tí ìwé òfin Nigeria sọ nìyẹn. But àwọn ti practice Sharia láti year 2000. Àwọn kí ni focus Sharia ni pé anybody tó wà Nigeria yìí wọ́n máa sọ wọ́n di Muslim tipátipá. Àwọn tó bá dẹ̀ bẹ̀ ti Muslim wọ́n máa pa wọ́n. Focus Sharia nìyẹn. So it's like they are the boss, Fulanis, who are practicing Sharia, and everyone in Nigeria apart from them are slaves. And that shows in the way they even apportion the government powers, positions. So as a result, nínú àṣẹ gbogbo olè wa kú báyìí, ẹ ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti gbára wálẹ̀, wọ́n wá kóra wọn jọ pé okay, ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní South-South, ẹ wá forúkọ yín lẹ̀, ẹ̀yin tẹ́ fẹ́ follow ìmútàfẹ́ ṣe yìí. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní South-East, ẹ wá forúkọ yín lẹ̀. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ jẹ́ Yorùbá, ẹ wá forúkọ yín lẹ̀. So gbogbo wọn yẹn àwọn oríṣiríṣi àwọn èèyàn ló ti forúkọ wọn lẹ̀. Tán ní okay, ìhun tẹ́ sọ yìí dá, ẹ ká ṣe ká gbára wálẹ̀ nínú ìgbèkù. So ohun tó kọ́kọ́ burú jù nípa ní constitution ìwé òfin Nàìjíríà wọ́n rí pé òun ló jẹ́ kó máa ṣe ohun tó máa ṣe yẹn. So ní ìwé òfin la kọ́kọ́ láti paná. So àwa lọ bẹ̀ sí seek support àwọn other people tó lè help wa like United Nations, US and so on and so forth. So with that wọ́n fún wa ní advice pé ká lọ kọ̀ọ̀kan ká kọ́kọ́ lọ bá àwọn gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì wa ká tó wọn pé báyìí nìkan ṣe lọ́rùn ní country wa yìí o. Ẹ jẹ́ ká jókòó ká jọ sọ bóyá ká parí ẹ̀ ká bá ṣe máa fáìn solution sí o ọ tá a bá yẹ lè fa ìsolution àkókò máa lọ ní tùbínùbí àwọn Yorùbá àwọn Igbo gbogbo kọ́ máa lọ so ibi tá a wà nìyẹn so that's what that stand for. Oodua wẹ́ àwọn ọmọ Oodua bí nǹkan ṣe ń lọ sí i ohun tó yẹ káwọn bí ká wà ní gbèkùn yìí tó pẹ́ báyìí ni pé àwọn ọmọ Oodua Ọlọ́run máa gbà wá tẹ́ bá wo àwọn tó ń gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì sí bí gbàdúrà yẹ pé àwọn long cause problem fún wa tẹ́ bá wo Tinubu gbogbo ohun tó ṣe gbòòyàn ló mọ̀ tí nǹkan kan bá wà tá a máa ṣe as a nation táwọn yẹn bá decide pé nítorí wọ́n ṣe ní north nìyẹn Tinubu máa support wọn àwọn àtàjẹ́ ẹbí ẹ̀ kò kí ẹ̀ wọ́n lè pa wá ìtura ló ṣe ń gba kí ọmọ kó truckload àwọn tó ń pààyàn tó ní kẹ̀kẹ́ pẹ̀lú bọn kọ́ máa kó wọn wọ Èkó the same thing náà àbùsí àwọn ọgbà other government tó wà ní south náà wọ́n dẹ̀ ń kó nǹkan wọ Èkó wọ́n kó àwọn foreigners they are not Nigerians o Chad Niger wọ́n kó wọn wọ ìlú wa kọ́ wọn máa pa wá nítorí jẹ́ kí Ìgbòho nìde náà nìyẹn nígbà tó lọ pa ẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ̀ so nísìnyí à ń láti bára wa sọ̀rọ̀ sí ọmọ Yorùbá because a kì í rẹ́ a lè trust ara wa ìyẹn ni major problem tí a láti work on Ọlọ́run á gbà wá but bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n gangan nìyẹn tàbá lè ṣe tá a wà greedy tá a wà selfish Ọlọ́run á fún wa ní bẹ́ẹ̀ tó tá à ń fẹ́.
Yeah, Tony Nnadi is my name. I happen to be the secretary of the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, the one they call NINAS. And we have, since December of 2020, placed on the table a comprehensive plan to resolve the quagmire we call Nigeria now. And that framework, we have taken the trouble to engage all the segments of society, starting with the federal government. We give them 90 days to come to discuss. Instead of coming, they rush to National Assembly, trying to go through the back door of going to amendment. We told them no, the National Assembly's mandate does not include constitution making, and so it collapsed on their head. Again, in the 30 days that followed, from March 17th, we gave the governors, their own window to come to see how we do, since the federal government had abandoned everybody. You saw the Minister of Defense saying that people should go and defend themselves and not be cowards. And then the governors, instead of coming, went to Asaba to, make their proclamations. And now, 30 days passed, and then we gave 120 days to consult with the people of the owners of the land. In that 120 days, the Yoruba, you saw them on the streets all the way to Washington. And the international community have been discussing Nigeria in what we proposed to them. And they've told Nigeria that you can't go shooting at these people because what they are talking about is something that needs to be resolved. Go call a meeting of the people and get fresh legal instruments. That's where we are. And so that 120 days is at an end. We have come to report, victory over that constitution. And it's just a matter of enforcing the will of the people that will follow next. The political parties that are dragging us towards the election, they are going to be contended with by the people they claim to represent. This is now a fight between we and them, because if we don't put up that fight, we're going to be waiting for AK-47 at our doorsteps. It's better for us to fight with them now than waiting for AK-47 to turn up at our doorsteps.
And so we welcome you and thank you for this wonderful occasion. So I'll take it back to Mazi Ezoke.
Yeah, I think I would. I think I'll have to take it from here. The address of today is coming at the close of the 120 days period of consultation we took from the 17th of April. After the 90 days for the federal government and the 30 days for the governors and elected officials of state, the 120 days we took from April 17th was to consult with the populace, the people directly, because this is a people's right we're talking about, and people's power was what was activated on that 17th of April. And therefore, we're also engage the international community in that period. Today's event is to take stock of how far we've gone, what is left, the progress that has been made, monumental progress. But before we get into the speech, which will be taken by Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki, I would want us to, I'm sure most of us have been hearing about the documents that we got from the British archives, by all means. The documents that our fathers did not see. The documents are the foundation of Nigeria that our fathers were not privy to. One of those documents is here, dated 1912. And the very thing we are doing now was already documented as something that was likely to happen from the very foundation of Nigeria by the British that put Nigeria together in the manner we have seen in Nigeria. And so, in that document, the British they knew that what they were putting together will fall like a pack of cards. I'm actually reading now about the portion about the compromise foundation. It says, it is this loyal band of officials who have prevailed on the framework of the administration tumbling down like a pack of cards, and who by their sympathetic treatment of the natives have reflected on the best traditions of the imperial rule and have remained a pillar of hope and tower to the encouraging them in the unswerving devotion to the emperor and the king in general. It goes on and on to talk about the swindling of the natives throughout the document. The natives were described, you know, the indigenous nationalities of Nigeria were described as the natives because the British knew that the people they were in joint venture with were not natives in that sense. And so, I continue, says the successful prosecution of the British policy, since it will entail not only the social and economic enslavement of the natives, but also the legal swindling and confiscation of their inherent and inalienable right to their ancestral lands. What the British knew that what they were doing would entail the swindling of the natives of their ancestral lands and their inalienable, rights over it. Everything depends on whether or not her future policy is to derive its sanctions from the Nigerian system. If the former, she can, to her heart's content, count upon the well-tried loyalty of the African subjects. But if the latter, that is, if they do not change some of the things that have already been done wrong, then the native will be compelled to claim the right of self-determination before the League of Nations. At the time this document was being put together, the United Nations we know today was the League of Nations. And so the British themselves documented it, that when the natives get to find out the depth of swindling that had happened, and they organize themselves, that they'll be going before the League of Nations to claim their right to self-determination. Why are we here today? The indigenous nationalities, the ones they call the natives of the time, we have come to the full consciousness of the atrocities they packed together to label Nigeria. And we are today on our way, not just on our way, we already went there. I've been part of teams that went to the UN headquarters to discuss with those who will be handling the matter when it comes to the next stage. And so it is, we decided to call your attention to this document that predates 1914. These documents were concealed from those who negotiated Nigeria, our fathers. I dealt with Enohoro, I dealt with Ojukwu, I dealt with Bakoloki, I dealt with Hope Harriman. Most of the people who actually went to Lancaster House and the meetings before Lancaster House. They confirmed to us that they didn't know that this was what they were signing into. If they knew on no account would they have signed up. Even the question of Sharia that came up later, it was an issue at the time. And this document also predicted that a time will come when a holy war will erupt in that northern province on account of what the people are going to find out about being deceived. If you read what was here and you knew the story of Yusuf that became Boko Haram, you will see that everything happening to us, was intended to be so that this enterprise will continue the way it was. I think we can now go over to Don Pedro Baseki to take us through what has come to do.
Good morning, my friends, colleagues. I will be as dedicated to the script as possible with this format, but you are my colleagues. Nigerian Union dispute emanating from grave constitutional grievances. A milestone report on the implementation of the December 16, 2020 constitutional force majeure and direction for the future. This is a test of the statement at this board press conference, August 17, 2021, by the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, at the expiration of the 120-day period of consultations which commenced on April 17, 2021. The theme of this milestone report is Taking Back Our Sovereignty, a declaration of victory over the fraud of 1999. So, gentlemen of the press, as we come to the close of the 120-day period of consultations, which commenced on the 17th day of April 2021, in the measured implementation of the constitutional force majeure, we invited you here today to update our people and the global community on the tremendous progress that has been made in giving effect to the will of the peoples of Nigeria, which had for so long been suppressed by the forces of oppression and retrogression. Recall that following the December 16, 2020 constitutional force majeure proclamation, a sovereignty dispute was declared by the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, on the grounds of grave constitutional grievances, and a 5-point demand was made on the federal government of Nigeria with a 90-day period of notice for the commencement of irreversible steps towards the remediation of the said grievances. The full text of the proclamation was published as an advertorial in the January 2021 edition of the Guardian newspapers. You can find that on pages 38, 39, 40, and 41. For the ease of reference, it is good that we record that the 5 points of demand in the December 16, 2020 proclamation are: 1, a formal announcement by the federal government of Nigeria acknowledging the constitutional grievances and sovereignty dispute which was declared by the peoples of the South and the Middle Belt of Nigeria. A formal commitment by the federal government of Nigeria to the wholesale decommissioning and jettisoning of the 1999 Constitution as the basis of the Federation of Nigeria, as was done by the government of the apartheid-era Union of South Africa in 1990. And that commenced the process by which the apartheid constitution of the then South Africa was eased out. So this is not something new. It is not a novelty. A formal announcement by the federal government of Nigeria suspending further general elections under the disputed 1999 Constitution, since the winners of such elections will swear to and govern by that Constitution. So by that declaration of December 2020, that Constitution ceases to exist, and you cannot swear people in on the basis of 0. That must be clear. Any election going forward is null, void, ultra-vires, and of no consequence of constitutional backing whatsoever, howsoever, because the Constitution is dead. 3, a formal invitation to the peoples of the South and the Middle Belt of Nigeria, we shall work out and emplace a transitional authority, and we shall specify the modalities for the transitioning process, including the composition and mandate of the transitional authority, as well as the time frame for the transitioning and other auxiliary matters. 5, a formal initiation of a time-bound transitioning process to midwife the emergence of fresh constitutional protocols by a 2-stage process in which the constituent regional blocks will, at the first stage, distill and ratify their various constitutions by referendums and plebiscites, and then in the second stage, negotiate the terms of federating afresh as may be dictated by the outcomes of the referendum and plebiscites. Key. Recall that also that at the expiration of the 90-day period, NINAS addressed a world press conference in Ibadan on March 17, 2020, at which it announced a 30-day period of consultation with governors and other elected officials of NINAS Alliance territory, and which expired on April the 16th, 2021. Also recall that on the 17th day of April 2021, NINAS announced the commencement of another period of 120 days of consultations with the peoples of Nigeria, as well as the critical stakeholders segment of the international community, which period came to a close on August the 16th, 2021. We are glad to report to you, our people, and the international community today, the 17th day of August 2021, the spectacular success of the joint multi-regional constitutional force majority in its main objective of defeating and peacefully easing out the imposed, toxic, and fraudulent 1999 constitution upon which the distressed Federation of Nigeria is presently constructed. This victory over the fraud of 1999 is the first major step towards the recovery and reinstatement of the sovereignty of the constituent components of the defunct Federation of Nigeria, trapped in the unitary union of death that Nigeria has become for all that defeated the 1999 unitary constitution. In order to understand the victory we have just declared over that toxic 1999 constitution, and for the benefit of those who may not have followed the developments in the Nigerian politics since December 16, 2020 activation of the constitutional force majority, it is significant to note that, 1, in the 90-day period of notice to federal government of Nigeria, the attempt to resort to the backdoor route of constitutional amendments as response to the sovereignty dispute raised by NINAS was rejected countrywide, as NINAS and other major stakeholders, including some governors, insisted that the 1999 constitution was a total fraud that could not be cured by amendments, and more importantly, that the legislative mandate of the National Assembly is law-making and does not extend to constitution making. It is not a constitution drafting assembly. That botched attempt is by itself an acknowledgement of the incurable foundational flaw of the 1999 Constitution. In the 30-day period of consultations for governors and other elected officials in the Alliance territory, the governors of the southern states of Nigeria, in an unprecedented move, never before has it ever happened in the history of this country, met in Asaba to declare that open grazing will be banned in all states of southern Nigeria. This decision, if effectively brought the governors to the side of the propositions of Nina's constitutional force majority, cannot be effectively carried out without first decommissioning the 1999 Constitution and its federal exclusive legislative list, which currently prohibit the states from issuing firearms to enforce such a ban. In the 120-day period of consultations with the peoples of Nigeria and the international community, the indigenous nationalities of Nigeria from all parts of the South and the Middle Belt, in embrace of the Nina's grand propositions, marched out to the streets in their homelands and in capital cities of the world, including Washington, D.C., New York, and London, to loudly assert their right to self-determination and their rejection of the unitary union of death Nigeria has become for their people under the fraudulent 1999 Constitution. In particular, the Yoruba took their self-determination campaign to the United Nations, leading the rest of the Nina's alliance to the point that the CNN reported this growing push for exit from the failed Lugadian experiment of 1914 by the Yoruba, joining the long-standing exit campaign from the Eastern Flank, framed by its proponents as the Biafra Agitation. On the international circuit, between April the 28th, 2021 and April the 30th, 2021, key global powers, including the United States, the European Union, and the United Kingdom, acted in concert to point Nigeria to the key prescriptions of the December 16, 2020 constitutional force majority, and asking that the rulers of Nigeria to put guns aside and initiate a dialogue of the peoples of Nigeria to distill a fresh legal instrument, albeit a constitution. We recall that the United Nations, through its special rapporteur on Nigeria, had in September of 2021 declared the current 2019, had in September of 2019 declared the current constitutional arrangements of Nigeria as a pressure cooker for injustice, and that Nigeria, under the current 1999 Constitution, is now a danger to global peace security, as Nigeria can snap and cause an unprecedented global refugee crisis in which Nigeria's 200 million citizens will be seeking escape from death at a time the global terror networks include ISIS and Al-Qaeda are already converging in Nigeria. Now, inside this 120-day period, a global caveat by Ninas on the reckless foreign loans by the current federal government of Nigeria saw China canceling a loan of $1 billion United States dollars on Nigeria for the construction of a gas pipeline, while the United States canceled an order for attack helicopters on Nigeria, and the United States Congress followed up with the ban of sale of weapons to Nigeria, following request for such a ban by Ninas under U.S. concerns about gross human rights abuse by the regime in Nigeria. It is significant to note that in what seems like a sudden realization and a dawning reality on the Caliphate North, the coalition of northern groups which had since the 2017 Igbo quit notice from the North gained notoriety for its belligerence, suddenly realigned its position to the Nina's propositions and prescriptions regarding the Nigerian question as encapsulated by the Nina's proclamation of December 16, 2020, accepting A, that the Nigerian Union has collapsed, B, that we do not have a constitution at the moment, since the imposed 1999 Constitution has been repudiated and has been rejected countrywide. C, that the National Assembly cannot, by amendments, cure the fraud called the 1999 Constitution, and so must stop its present pretense that all is well with the Nigerian Union. That the National Assembly must halt the current constitutional amendment exercise and genuinely join the search for solutions to the dying Nigerian Union. D, that a grand meeting of the constituent component nationalities has become inevitable, and that the constituent components of Nigeria must at such a meeting first agree to form a union. That is, they must agree to federate before undertaking the task of settling the terms of that union. These somber and profound postulations were made in a recent BBC interview by the spokesperson of the CNG, or the Coalition of Northern Groups, Abdulaziz Suleiman. The link is available on the sheet for you. So, bearing the urgency of the ultra-conservative lot, it could be said that the postulations of the coalitions of northern groups clearly indicate that a country-wide consensus regarding the viable options for the dismantling and grand reconfiguration of the current unworkable unitary union of Nigeria has thus emerged. Happily, the comprehensive framework for undertaking the well-articulated prescriptions of the Coalition of Northern Groups in the aforementioned BBC interview are contained in the December 16, 2020 Constitutional Force Majeure Proclamation. The defeat and impending demise of the 1999 Constitution set the basis for the liberation of all who were trapped in the bondage called Nigeria. It is no longer a matter for debate that the 1999 Constitution is a fraud and a forgery that is directly responsible for practically all the miseries tormenting Nigerians, including the killings, mass poverty, gross insecurity, and general hopelessness, now leading to the demise of the Nigerian Union itself. It does not matter, therefore, which political party or which individual wins power. That constitution guarantees the evils we lament day in, day out. It is no longer a matter for debate that the peoples of Nigeria have repudiated and rejected the 1999 Constitution, and that the main people clinging tenaciously to that Constitution are the caliphate elements and their surrogates who have imposed it and for whom the rogue document is a title deed. The Constitution is a title deed by which they hold almost exclusively this vast piece of estate called Nigeria. While the only other people clinging to that 1999 Constitution of death are the political jobbers and merchants whose humongous benefits flow from the evil Constitution, even as mass poverty grind the rest of the populace they pretend to lead. The press, it is your duty to make Nigerians understand that they are being trampled upon by a paper they did not write. When you collect little and let your people suffer, and you believe in God, let me not get emotional, but to seize us out of this lacuna, we must be emotional. This is not a play issue. I'm sorry, my guys. It is no longer a matter for debate that, God bless you, that elections are the mechanism by which the life of the 1999 Constitution is renewed every 4 years. You are like, if they are dying, they die, we'll carry an election, like if it is oxygen, pump them again, and their continues to live when we know ab initio it was born dead. It follows, therefore, that those who are tormented by that Constitution like me, but who nonetheless accept to go to another round of national elections under that constitution like them, are the ones renewing and reinforcing their own damnation, bondage, and enslavement. It is now therefore a matter of choice whether we want to renew the source of our miseries once again in the 2023, or we want to free ourselves by rejecting now, in 2021, the invitation to join in the preparation for another round of national elections is 2023. These circles of renewal must be broken if we must be free. The Yoruba say, a stone that one sees does not blind one. The key to breaking the circle of renewal of the life of the 1999 Constitution lies in knowing that only political parties contest elections, and all political parties in Nigeria ascribe to that evil 99 Constitution. And so, whichever party wins any election, that winner will swear to uphold and defend the 1999 Constitution. It follows that political parties are solely responsible for leading the rest of us to the self-damnation of renewing the life of that 1999 Constitution every 4 years. The political parties have in this regard become the Judas. Iscariot. Judas goat that routinely lead us all to the slaughter. The key to taking down the 1999 Constitution is immediately halting the political parties from dragging us to another round of national elections in 2023. This is not a call to boycott the 2023 elections, but a call to halt the preparations for 2023 inside 2021. You will only boycott when it happens. We are saying, don't even prepare to let it happen. Political parties must now be persuaded to close shop. With the defeat of the 1999 Constitution by the joint multi-regional action of the Ninas Alliance, the Sharia Caliphate that imposed and holds tightly to that Constitution, as its title did, to own and to control Nigeria, is now confronted by the sudden demise of that their title did. The 1999 Constitution is dead, and is now on a desperate mission to reconquer the rest of Nigeria in order to re-establish ownership and control by conquest outside that defeated title deed. However, to be able to drive through its all-important conquest mission, the Caliphate needs more time in the saddle of Nigeria's political leadership and within the authoritarian powers conferred upon them by the all-powerful 1999 Constitution. So the only way the Caliphate can get that critically required time in power, that is time in the power saddle, is if the Caliphate can drag all of us to the voyage of another round of national elections till 2023 and give them another 4 years of fecundating and soaking this, our loaf, this bread, buff, until we burst. On the other hand, if we halt the voyage to 2023 inside 2021, the 1999 Constitution will lose its life inside 2021. And we will immediately get into transitioning and therefore on the way to regional referendums for self-determination. Let the Yoruba nation decide where they want to be, who they want to be, who they want to be with. Let the Igbo nation decide who they want to be, where they want to be, and who they want to cohort with. Let the Ijaw do same. Let Benin do same. Let Yoruba do same. We know where we are. We are in a marriage because we want to. Not the arranged forced marriage that was done without any of us by a man who we know is in hell, and his name is Lord Frederick Luka. He's not a Lord, sorry. This is the safe route to freedom for all constituent blocks that are fed up with the toxic Nigerian youth. Amidst the massive enlightenment campaign going on amongst peoples of the Alliance territory globally, concerning the correlation between the 1999 Constitution, our collective miseries, elections, and political parties, more of our people now know that, that going to general elections in 2023 under the 1999 Constitution will spell unmitigated disaster, while halting the preparations by political parties for 2023 is guarantee for their freedom, for their escape to freedom. Accordingly, the choice is entirely in our hands. On the side of government, let it be known that it is the specter of 2023 elections that distorts and inhibits most of what would have been appropriate and common sense solutions to the multitudes of seemingly intractable problems of Nigeria. So it be sounded loud and clear that the immediate suspension of preparations towards the general elections in 2023 is the most urgently required first aid to Nigeria that is currently bleeding profusely from all sides. And for every single day this emergency aid is delayed, the risk of catastrophic implosion of Nigeria becomes exponentially increased. So NINA's call to action. NINAS has a 5-point call to action. Knowledge is power. The first task before us all in the period of commencing, that is commencing today, August 17, the year of our Lord 2021, is to help spread this information as well as other related information on the constitutional force majority amongst the peoples of the NINAS Alliance territory, wherever they are on the face of planet Earth. NINAS directs the regional blocks to advance the processing and ratification of their regional constitutions and charters in readiness for the United Nations-backed regional self-determination stay or leave referendum from the Distressed Federation of Nigeria. I pause so that I say this. NINAS requests you to help intensify the signing of the ongoing NINAS referendum petition, by which NINA's December 16, 2023 Constitutional Force Majority Proclamation is addressed to the United Nations Security Council, and also support and, where possible, partake in the march at the 76th United Nations General Assembly in September 2021. In this same period commencing August 17, 2021, led the campaign to persuade the political parties to close shop forthwith for the reasons outlined therein before be intensified. All the reasons we've outlined previously in this document, it should be intensified. This will bring us to Domino 2 and the transitioning threshold, precipitating the referendums we seek. When these actions take place, it will have a domino effect that will bring us to the transitioning threshold, which is referendum, referendum, referendum. Let the Yoruba people decide who, where, why they want to be, who, where, why, who. Let the Edo people do same. Let the Igbo people do same. Let the Ijaw people do same. Let the Akwa people do same. Let every Nigerian decide whether to continue in this toxic, abiku, bonded relationship or revive something new. With the defeat of the 1999 Constitution and in the spirit of the transitioning prescribed in the December 16, 2020 NINAS Constitutional Force Majority Proclamation, all governments in the Alliance territories are invited to brace up, take charge, and assume responsibility for the safety and economic welfare of their people, making appropriate legislations and regulations to step into roles previously denied them or prohibited by the fraudulent and now disputed 1999 Constitution, especially via the 68th item Federal Exclusive Legislative List in that 1999 Constitution, pending when formal transitional mechanisms are worked out. Power belongs to the people. Thank you for your attention. I've read this on behalf of Professor Banji Akintoye, the sitting chairman of Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination. My name is Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki. I'm the president of the Midwest